Dylan, we're here for a new project, Market Prep. Guys, this is going to be our new Sunday show. This is going to be talking about any type of stock, not just the VTOLs, but every stock. You may know us as the VTOL brothers, the Hustle brothers. But yeah, we're here to talk about something completely different today. We have the whole conflict in Iran escalating. We have oil pushing forward. Last Sunday, you could have said that it was,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, a doomsday. But no, we're here. People have asked
Yeah.
for it. We're going to talk about absolutely everything. We've a few stocks lined up. Guys, do jump into the chat. Let us know what stocks you are looking at. What are your highest convictions? It can be VTOLs. It can be absolutely anything. It's going to be very strange today because we will not be focusing on the eVTOLs.
Yeah.
So do stick around. Smash that like button pretty early on. Also, smash that subscribe button. Make that clock spin. Dylan, we're just after eVTOL Weekly for any of the
Yeah.
guys that haven't seen you before. Do you want to do a quick elevator pitch, 30-second rundown on yourself?
Oh, sure. Thanks, Liam. My name is Dylan. I go by Dylan is Dylan11 on X, and I have been generally in the market on the retail side for I would say a little over 2 years now, and generally was an opportunity to add just an extra leg because I'm a 9 to 5 worker. And so it's been a way to kind of look at stocks in a more equity based way instead of just having kind of like a 401k ran through the company and have it done like that. So it's been an amazing experience. And it's my last thing I'll say is, going from years where it was like I could name you every NFL coach and NBA coach and player and stuff. It's like now I can't name those, but I can name you, the top CEOs and all that in the world. So yeah, it's been fun. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Liam.
Do you know what? Dylan's got me very interested in a certain space. Dylan has been investing in this
Oh.
space for a while, but I was making a cup of tea, and I was actually thinking about how revenue can push forward in
Yeah.
this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen here, and we will bring one up. So during this conflict, many are rushing in towards the defense sector.
Mm.
And the problem with the defense sector is everyone's starting to overcompensate. They're rushing in. They think they're going to make all this money, and money is made during wars. Sadly, money is made during wars, and
Mm.
we are getting a lot of rebalancing of portfolios. But I think the stocks you need to focus on are either the ones that are suppressed or what is going to happen after the war. We can't guarantee what's going to end this war. We don't know, is it going to be next week? Is it going to be next month, next year, 5 years? Hopefully, it don't go there. Troops aren't on the ground yet. I don't want it to go down that route.
Yeah.
Dylan was speaking to me about a stock there. We're going to have a look at it. I'll bring it up on the screen here. It is, let me just fire that there. Talk.
Yeah.
So, Dylan, do you want to do a quick elevator pitch on Talk? And then I will actually tell you what I've been thinking about over my quick cup of tea break.
Nice. Yeah, can do. So yeah, my talk. Let me just see. Sorry, let me bring where's StreamYard? There, I can bring it back up. And then okay, here we go. Sorry. Here we go. So yeah, so quick pitch on Talkspace. So I had started to get interested in this company, I would say about 14-ish months ago or so. And what really kind of drew me into this company was the fact that they deal in the mental health space and it is really done in the virtual forum. So again, just like you'd have a Zoom meeting or talking on StreamYard, that's how you'd be receiving your mental health care and your mental health support. So this kind of trigger just went on in my brain where I'm a little bit older than Liam. So kind of that switch of being used to or being more comfortable with seeing maybe a doctor in office or a therapist in office or something like that to now going through like the years of COVID where really, the webcam was really kind of forced on you. So whether or not you felt comfortable kind of doing the FaceTimes, you were kind of forced to it. So again, with Talkspace offering this medium where you don't have to go in person to get that mental health care, just really kind of just started this light bulb where I wanted to just learn a little bit more about the company. I then learned later that they did have contracts and partnerships with entities like the VA, which in the U.S. Is Veterans Affairs. So that would be retired military, and I want to make sure I have that correct. So please correct me if I don't. But also having county schools local to me in the Baltimore jurisdiction, so integrating into the into the school districts, as well as having the ability to have their services paid by insurances such as Medicaid and Medicare, which again are the more government-ran insurance companies, as opposed to all self-pay out of pocket. And so diving into them, I started listening to their earnings calls and such. And I really just find that they're really easy listen. They're in about 20, 25 minutes or so long. But it doesn't seem like they're the calls like nowadays. I feel like it's a lot of like growth and promises and AI and waves and next future and tech, and it's a lot of a lot of the forward statements that we hear in the calls. For Talkspace, it's really just kind of been about the year over year growth. They do talk about and answer Q&A about general how they integrate AI and work on customer retention. So I believe last quarter was the best customer retention that they've had, again, year over year, quarter over quarter. And I can bring the percentages up later, of course. But again, also that they were finding that their conversion rate from once you're having your first session, if you're having your second session, their rate of conversion from the second to third session was also a substantial growth within inside of the company. And that's what they were feeling was also going to lock that individual in for receiving services through Talkspace for the future. So yeah, it's been on the radar and sometimes been adding here and there, but just don't talk as much about.
Guys, we're currently trading at 514. Market cap's about 860.781 million. So we're on that $1 billion range. Over the past month, it is up 36%. And normally I don't chase stocks that are pushing up this quickly. 100% over the past 6 months. And then over the past year, we're 86% up. After Dylan's quick elevator pitch on that, the whole mental health space, it seems to be massive in today's world. And my whole thoughts on this. Okay, so you said there were $22 million revenue. Is that correct?
That was what I thought I remember from the last earnings call, but I will check it out.
I then asked them, how do we actually generate revenue? How does it increase? What actually happens? And we actually dive down, and you can see it's all insurance cover, so both through Medicaid and Medicare. Now, my big interest in this now is, okay, we'll go back to the war for a second. Dylan said that not only Army veterans can get this service, and I wouldn't be banking on just Army veterans to fire the revenue up here. But the thing is, we've seen through X, people are stressing out whether it's coming to oil prices, whether it's coming to the price of eggs, etc. If this war does start to elongate further and further out, as prices do start going up, you get a lot more stress on the average everyday person. I am telling you, even though mental health is a massive thing now, I think the market there is immense. I don't think that as many people as you believe do go to therapists, and as many people as you believe are comfortable with speaking about mental health, I don't think there is enough people that are. And I think an online platform makes it just that bit easier for people to reach out. When insurance are paying for this, it seems to be very, very easy for the everyday consumer to actually get a therapist. Looking here, it seems like they're able to switch provider at any time if the first therapist isn't a fit. So it's not like
That
they
is
just
correct. Yeah.
they just give you a therapist and away you go. So the lovely thing about mental health is that cohesion between the therapist and the person. Myself and Ray spoke about this many, many times. This is an unpopular opinion. I genuinely believe therapists is a money-making scheme. And that is very controversial to say. But when you go into a therapist with one problem, you come out with 10. And I genuinely believe the reason you come out with 10 is not just because they find something. Look, anyone can go to a therapist and you're bound to have some type of problem. But if they can identify enough problems, you're going to think there's something wrong with you. You think there's something wrong with you. Next thing, you're going back to the therapist, and next thing it's catch-22. You're stuck with the therapist then, and you keep paying. The thing is, then when you start feeling a bit better and you stop going to the therapist, what happens to everyone? And especially when you're dealing with people that are not mentally healthy, shall we say, they're in a dark place.
Yeah, crisis mode
They
sometimes.
do relapse. Now, the thing is, when people relapse, and if they've just came away from the therapist, they're going to go back to the therapist and therefore talk space, get more and more revenue. It is such a dark way to say it, but in reality, that is how therapists make money.
Well, and also, Liam, if you don't mind, I don't want to cut your conscious thought off. But also, what's been a big change, at least in the U.S. in the last 20 years, has been the licensing behind providers. 20 years, 25 years ago or so, you could have been one who, whether it's on the mental health side, substance side, you could actually be a counselor, be it work at private or a even county job as a like legit counselor, substance counselor, mental health counselor, without this license or even a college degree. It was like you had the life knowledge and you were able to help people, and that's how you were able to be a counselor. Now, I used to work actually a lot closer to mental health, behavioral health, and substance abuse services in my early stages of my career right now. And what the big change was is in the licensing. Everybody needed to be credentialed. LCSWs, LMPHQs, and stuff like that. All the credentialings were coming after the name. People were actually foregoing becoming a doctor and getting the doctorate, because you have a lot, again, those doctors in psychology, the doctorate of psychology. They were foregoing those because that's not what was going to get them paid. They had to have the licenses after their name, because if they didn't have the licenses, the insurance weren't able to bill to that provider. So again, to that point, just again in the change of the last 20 years, where I think again, it's something where you have a lot of people, going through things, and I think people have been more open to be able to, reach out, whether it's to a friend or to, the independent person, be it the therapist, to kind of get them help, with going through that situation. And also, one thing really quick, just to update the 22 that I was thinking of, that was a 22% increase year over year. Talkspace reported a strong full year 2025 revenue of 228.9 million. So they are projecting for revenues between 275 and 290 million. Now they said their positive net income achieved for the year was 7.8 million. So again, looking to balance this company at, trying to look at it again from a market cap perspective. But what I do want to add into what I've seen through watching this ticker specifically, and again, I just want to frame that none of this is financial advice. This is just individual thoughts on kind of companies that I've taken a look at. Is it really weathered the tariff storm pretty well. It was not like this substantial drawback. Again, I wouldn't say it would have a V shape per se rally after it, but it was kind of hanging at specific levels around a 270-ish price. And then even now, after the last earnings, it got its bump and kind of started to consolidate a little bit over four. I'm going to just say in and around the 420 range. And now that we've entered the conflicts, which have had a big drawdown on a lot of the stocks, I want to say if you went to the 1 or 2 week chart, it might be red, but maybe not by 1 to 3%. But it started to consolidate more in this $5 range, a little bit more than I expected it to. I was looking to kind of be one where, if I was to be a buyer, looking for more, than 20% return from where I was buying in at. So, I was thinking if the year would close at $6 per se, that would bring the company up to about more of a $1 billion market cap. So again, balancing the revenue that they're actually bringing in, to be cautious of. But I do enjoy that year over year growth, both in subscribers and tapping into additional counties. And I feel like at this time of year, you have kind of locked in the schools in which you're going to have those services at. So I'd be curious as we kind of enter late spring, summer, if there's any guidance given on additional schools that have adopted Talkspace into their kind of ecosystem as well.
Guys, do let us know, is Talk something you would add going into this week? That is our quick elevator pitch on why we think Talk could be great during this whole Iran conflict. C. Jernigan says, what's up with oil? I spent 2,000 in diesel last week. Truck driver, hopefully it starts coming back down. I'm stressed, I need Talkspace. Lol. And then Tyson Free says, I'm a truck driver too, but company's so glad I'm not paying for it.
Oh my gosh.
Dyke says oil went up from the blockage of the Strait of Hormuz. Oil's sitting just below that $100 range, so it's about $98 a barrel now. It's one of those, oil is going to be a massive problem. Some people are calling for $120 a barrel. You're even getting some lunatics calling for $200 a barrel. I don't think we're going to hit $200 a barrel, but look, Trump has signed a emergency executive order to start pumping again in California. That's great for you guys. That's great for all you guys in the US. You're going to be
oil heavy.
Us guys in Europe,
look,
we're going to have to depend on, well, Russia have released, Trump got an agreement with Russia to release a nice amount of oil. Germany are releasing around 200 million barrels of oil. So I think oil is a massive topic lately. I wouldn't be jumping in buying oil. I think loads of people got caught with their pants down holding the bag last Sunday. If we thought last Sunday was bad and everyone was claiming it was going to be doomsday for the following week and we done a quick rebound, I'm not worried too much about the oil price. Yes, we're getting a lot of people complaining about, and this is not just you with your $2,000. I wouldn't want to spend $2,000 on diesel, but we're getting a lot of consumers complaining about the price they're paying for fuel. It's one of those, what's more expensive? We can see at the moment, the cost of the war is going through the roof, but at the same time, how much of cost to have a whole rebuild after a nuclear attack by Iran. Then we have China, I seen earlier, starting to surround Taiwan.
Could I throw one quick thing in about the oil? And just anybody feel free to fact check this, because I thought I heard it about a year ago. If you short oil, and I think it called on it, and it's either that you don't have the funds, they literally deliver the oil to your house. So that's just a market thing that I had never heard before until about a year ago. But I think if you go short on oil and you get called on it or don't have the funds, they're literally bringing the oil to your house. So there's something weird about that whole trade of oil too. So I don't know. If true, just be careful. But I'm sorry, Liam, we were talking about China and Taiwan?
Yeah, China's starting to surround Taiwan. And what's worrying me about that is, will the US get stretched very, very thin if they go and defend Taiwan? We know defending not only the Strait of Hormuz, and we know Trump has called for other allies to help him with that, but Iran's one thing, but China's another kettle of fish, and I don't think we want to go down that route. Looking at it with a stock market head on it, I think any escalation in Taiwan, we're going to see a lot of pain across the industry. At the moment, I think as investors, what we need to do is sort of balance ourselves out. I don't think the US and China actually want to have conflict with each other. I think it's more flex and muscles between the two nations. I have no doubt Trump will double down if he has to, but the way I'm prepping my portfolio at the moment is for I'm not going to say a prolonged war in Iran, but longer than expected. However, I'm not preparing for any sort of escalation with China. Escalation with China, I think we can look at our portfolios a little bit differently. I don't think necessarily the speculative stocks are probably the way to go, but at the same time,
I
I
mean,
don't know
there's
how are you prepping your portfolio at the moment?
Um, here's my honest plan. And I'm a snacker, so you're not gonna catch me on a day, even if it's like one share, even if it's like talk, the good old Liam in the back of my head, the coffee a day challenge, like why not throw five at something? So, but what I'm really looking to do is I'm looking to go cash until about mid-May. So
Okay.
I'm looking to again kind of play a little inverse here. Now, definitely I'm still wanting to kind of nibble at certain companies. Again, we do eVTOL weekly, so Archer's one, Joby under $10 is more appealing to me. Although there's some other things that I want to see if shakes out with that, just that might bring it back to a $6 to $8 range. But yeah, it's something that I don't want to necessarily wait to time the bottom, but for me, in the way that the cash accumulation does come in, I feel like giving myself a lighter kind of dump into the market either weekly or biweekly may set me up for a better opportunity come mid-May when there maybe is some more high selling pressure on the market, and again with an unknown resolution of the conflict, and that being 2 months away. So maybe trying to prepare myself as best as I can that way, and still be a little greedy and nibble here when I can.
An interesting one that Anthony is saying
Mm,
is Mobix. Mobix Labs,
yeah.
guys. Any of you in
What's this
Mobix
about?
at the moment? They seem to have had a nice push within the last month or so.
Hmm.
They're up 224.85%. Looking at that, their market cap is 64.959 million. Anthony, you love these
Yeah,
micro market caps, but
finding them.
they won a defensive contract for Tomahawk missile components. Let me see if I can get into that. March 3rd, they announced that they received significant production purchase order for components used in U.S. Navy Tomahawk cruise missile program. The order includes the company's specialized electromagnetic interference filtering component, which is designed to protect and stabilize sensitive onboard electronics by mitigating electromagnetic interference during missile operation. Contract highlights the company's ability to supply mission critical components for advanced defense system and aerospace platforms. That's very
Hmm.
interesting. One, my only fear there is that looks very. I thought Mobix were into semiconductors, but
Hmm.
but my only fear there is the massive push up has been to do with Tomahawk missiles. If we are to see any de-escalation in the war, my whole concern would be
Hmm.
where would the likes of Mobix go from there? Anthony, were you in Mobix before or after that big push up? Now, look, if the war escalates and we get more and more contracts, you can see Mobix push over that dollar. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm anti-war stocks at the moment
Mm-hmm.
as we go
Yeah.
through this whole Iran conflict. I can't see the actual military escalating anything. I think we're more or less going to plateau a little bit as they start
Well, and it's tough too
neutralizing
because
all their.
as the so and with that, Joe, with you, the 3 weeks leading up to the conflict, I felt like the market was choppy, and retail and beta was strong in early January, and it kind of faded off prior, but kind of mid-February, it just felt like a bounce back was in the air. But even to Nvidia and such, didn't seem to be getting the pumps inside the Nvidia communities that some were looking for based on the production with inside of the earnings calls on the company, or the latest earnings call within the company. So yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Guys, let us know any more stocks that you are interested in. C. Jernigan says, I hear the ships can start moving again, but not only American oil tankers, only 1% going through shutdown Strait of Hormuz. is American, so oil prices should start stabilizing. My understanding is that many are moving, but it's to do with whether the company wants them to move through or not, because Iran are starting to fire one-way drones hitting these commercial liners. So many are moving through, but at the same time, some companies just aren't taking the risk at the moment. Tyson Free says all these release of oil when the war ends and oil goes back to $50 a barrel. A lot of retail are going to get burned. I think the problem is with oil, everyone's rushing to it now, and it's never a great opportunity when everyone rushes to it. If you weren't in oil before February 27th, you missed a move. I would short oil now if I was in. Do you know what? That could be a good move. I'm not wild about shorting. Not just look. I'm going to be dead honest with you guys. Yeah, many people say they're not into shorting because they're just against betting against either a commodity or a company. That's not necessarily why I don't like shorting. It just doesn't really appeal to me. And anytime I've ever tried it, and it's been years since I have, but anytime I ever tried it, the risk reward is just absolutely insane. To be shorting stocks, Iran can't escalate. They're a paper tiger. Guys, do smash that like button if you like this new project we're going down, talking about all different types of stocks. Also, feel free to jump into the comments. Let us know what stocks you want us to look at. Interesting one, Dylan.
Yeah, I got that. Oh, you want to go? Okay, all right, and then remind me about another one. But yeah, let's hit them, man. So yeah, break them. Break the stock chart down, man. What's Ampex? Yeah,
AMPX. It did have a little bit of a red day after that massive move up. Closed today at 17.95, but it did start climbing again after hours. Myself and Dylan said around $11-12 is a massive buy range, but then I said I'm considering just throwing $1,000 in it, get a bit of skin in the game, because battery technology needs to improve across the whole electric sector. Everyone's rushing towards AI, and I think a massive play is power and energy. And not necessarily these are going to be, you won't be using batteries in data centers, but at the same time, everything is going down that whole electrification route. We need these solid state batteries. We're heavily invested in the eVTOL sector, but not only the eVTOL sector, cars are going to have to go further and longer. It's going to be more robust. I think a slept on sector is the battery technology sector. Over the past 5 days, they smashed earnings. They're up 9% over the last month, 80% up. You guys were lucky enough to be in it. I was not. 6 months, 120%. I do think there's a lot more run room to go. So 900% over the year. Like, what was it trading? Was it down by?
I want to say it was $1.60 or so, maybe this time last year. I mean, I could be wrong, could be a little bit higher. But yeah, it was a diamond in the rough, kind of figuring out its way through. They did have, I want to say, negative 0.01 cent EPS on the last earnings call that took place about a week ago. So curious to see if they'll go positive on the EPS come next earnings call. But no, I'm locked with you, Liam. Like, I think right now there's a lot of focus on chips and data centers. And maybe this is where I'll just squeeze it in. We'll let it go. But if you remember Vertiv, I was talking about it, but that was about a year and a half ago. And it was, jumping up and down between 60 and 120, 60 and 120, 80. And it's just like, good Lord, this thing is volatile. And, always feeling like it was on the wrong side. And thesis was there and didn't stick with it. So that's when I didn't stick with. And that one was recently added to the S&P. And I think that was added in at like 220 to 240. So now you get institutions picking it up for that. But yeah, back to Ampex, the battery tech, I think if it's not slept on, I wonder if it's something that is beginning to wake up, as again the chips in the data centers have been so front and center. And I'm not to say that that's not going to be the big wave or the next wave of this AI revolution, but if I think to again the things, be it the drones. Ampex got the deal to be the partner for the Nokia drones. So again, I think they're making progress. I believe in silicon state batteries as well. And there's just to all the wearables. That's really where my head is going right now, like to the wearable devices and such. I think we even saw that they supply the batteries for the Amazon drones.
Amazon drones.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah. Just another thing, a feather for them. And yeah, so I did just think of like the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and this is just a random top of the head. Like you're gonna have to have a battery in them, and who will be supplying that battery, and what type of battery tech will be needed for that faster, lighter, more more range out of that battery, and not have that be something that's going to drag your face down and all that kind of stuff.
I think it's just a slept on sector. And I think if we roll back 5 years ago, I think there would have been a lot of excitement around battery technology. And I feel like AI just clouded over that with the mass push forward of large language models. But I think when the world opens up and realizes that battery technology is another thing that really needs to push forward, I think energy, transportation, healthcare is massive. I don't know, slept on, put it that way. Tyson says SoFi. Guys, any of you guys in SoFi? I remember ages ago when I was in Robinhood, I think I got in at 850 and sold out at about 1150. And I remember at the time it was a conflict I had between SoFi and Robinhood. SoFi seems to be a fan favorite for many of you guys. Now, look, we're getting a little bit of a retracement there if we look at it over the last year, but it's over 55% up. Like if you compare that to the S&P, that is beautiful gains. I think SoFi is going to be one of those slow and steady as we start pushing forward. I'm actually very bullish on Nubank. Myself and Dylan were speaking about Nubank, but look, market cap is sitting around 22 billion.
Yeah.
Dylan, SoFi, is it something that you would consider buying, or are you in?
Yeah. Here's my thesis. I do own some SoFi, and I do own some new. I don't own Hood anymore. Now, what again I think was really the breakaway factor, minus user engagement and such, that Hood had the crypto platforms, and we're able to bring great year-over-year customer growth, and bring in the IRA matches, a ton of stuff that they were doing, and then their growth that they were showing in the banking, getting those charges and stuff like that. So I think SoFi, again, it's what is the market perceiving? So SoFi for a long time, as it sat in the 7 and the 8s, it was being seen as a bank. It wasn't being seen as this fintech. As a lot of the SoFi bulls would push back against that and say, no, this is a fintech product and platform, maybe not equatable to Robinhood in the sense of everything you can do, but through the loan platform, there's other things that SoFi offers that some of these other brokerage apps do not. So kind of as we were getting through the beta pushes and such, there was also talk about SoFi getting into the S&P. Well, not just this last round. There's probably been 2 or 3 that at least it's kind of sounded like with the market cap it's had was able to be set up for it. And the more that I listen to Anthony Noto, the CEO, I actually enjoy him. And there's a few just kind of general like sell on this news kind of things coming with could come with SoFi. And that's going to be entrance into the S&P. So their stock price will have to elevate a little bit. I think it's around maybe 18 or 19 for their market cap to be where it needs to be to get in the S&P. And then you also have Noto that has payment packages where he'll get paid as, I believe the stock hits either 30, I think it's a $35 clip would be the next one. So he has that incentive to be that CEO to drive his company forward, to bring that market return. They did dilute for, I think, over $1 billion within the recent 3-ish months, maybe if, give or take a month out or a month in from there. But I do like SoFi, and the only thing that I've heard, because I have not been able to use the new bank app, is really creating this super app. So what Nubank, what I can kind of very roughly say would offer, it's almost like, as this is your banking and maybe brokerage app and such like that too, it's multifold where almost you can purchase from the app. Now again, I haven't seen it in person, so be very curious from anybody who has used that platform of what that's like. But again, it's almost like as your money's on the platform, there's like, I'm going to say air quotes, shopping opportunities like built in as well. So and again, there's been talk of the emerging Latin market and the currency there. So yeah, that's my long-winded deep dive on fintechs and such. What do you think?
Tyson Free says SoFi getting back into crypto with their own stablecoin and also possibly S&P inclusion. I don't know, is it just me? I think it was the fact that I was such an early holder of Robinhood and seeing where Robinhood has gone. Now, Robinhood has pulled back compared to recent months, but I've sort of steered clear of the whole fintech space. Nubank is one of those I've started to, I don't know, keep my eye on recently. Chris says, Mr. Show, hope it was a good one, digging the new format. Big Show, do you know what? We
What's
could
up, Chris?
start including Chris in this, because another one we have up is ONDS.
Fan favorite.
ONDS got a partnership with Palantir this week. Is there a day that goes by, or a week that goes by, where it could even be a day that goes by that ONDS don't get another contract? Seems like the stock has pushed up quite nicely recently, but at the same time, I think it's being suppressed a little bit.
It's got some retrace. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And is it the fact, now look, Chris would know an awful lot more, guys, if you don't follow Crispy on X, VASCNC. He does cover this whole drone stock space, so he would know an awful lot more about the likes of ONDS than we do. So this might be a question for him. But is it the fact that Ondas, it's not only just primarily focusing on that whole defense sector, the whole war sector, but you said it was also mapping out like the infrastructure for railroads and
telecommunications,
telecommunications was one.
possibly. Yeah.
Is that why it's being suppressed at the moment? And are we going to see just a nice push up as the whole tension in Iran does release? Do let me know, Chris, because I'm actually quite interested. I haven't properly been diving around on that. It's only the fact that on X, it seems to be passing me left, right, and center. I feel like my whole algorithm is on that at the moment. So I've been reading a little bit as it's passing through, but I haven't really deep dived into it. Market cap at the moment is 4.57 billion. It could be an interesting play. Like, as we've said, it's not only a defensive stock. So if you want to get into that whole drone space, if you're not as bullish on the manned eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles that we do cover, drones could be something. Unmanned drones, whether it's for cargo, whether it's for surveillance, whether it's for communications, it could be a nice play if it's not solely defense you want to go into. I think if you want to go into the whole defensive aspects and the whole UAVs, I think Kratos is a nice little one, but I think Kratos you should have been in before all this kicked off. I'm actually jealous of Francisco because he was calling for me to play into Kratos very early on. Redwire is another very interesting one because they acquired Edge Autonomy. I've sold out completely of Redwire at the moment, but Redwire seems to be pushing forward again. Like, what have we got here? We're back up at that $9.59. When I was buying it, though, it was $14. So I still would have been under, but they seem to be proving out a little bit more now recently. But I don't know. I'm just massively bullish on Rocket Lab. Redwire is one of those. If space wins, Redwire will win. But I think Redwire is one of those long-term plays. Chris says railroad communications is Ondas Networks. The counter drone holdings with Sentry CS is great. Look at the chart on top of Rocket Lab for 3 months. Same chart, same money moves. I'm long AF. Light
That's the truth.
Unusual Machines, Ondas, and Rocket Lab are my core positions. Where is Lightpath at the moment?
Yeah, and big shout out if you haven't seen him yet. I think he has some nice CEO interviews that I would believe would be recorded and still up. But if they are, definitely go check them out. And if not, I apologize for saying that they were if they weren't.
Chris, let me know. Are you unshadow banned on X now? I finally got it this morning. I'm back to normal again. If you're not, reach out to me and I'll tell you what I done. I'll show you the emails and that. Lightpath, if I remember, these were to do with infrared sensors. Am I correct, Chris? 606 million market cap over the last month. They are down 8.77% over the last 6 months. They are up 91%. I can see why you loved them, my guy. For the last year, 444. And
not bad.
I can confirm Chris has been talking about this way before this whole conflict happened in Iran. So congratulations, Chris. I wish I listened to you. I'm stuck with Virtue and Joby. So yeah. I have a friend that went all in on MSTR.
Okay. When and where?
Strategy Inc.
Yeah, see MicroStrategy here.
So let me have a look. That might not load for me. Up 1% over the past 5 days. I was going to say it seems to be moving nicely, but down 57% over the last year, down 46%. These are the kind of companies we like, though. 46.61 billion market cap.
Well, the question too is, if Bitcoin rallies, is this, a fast V, that takes up?
How do you feel about crypto?
Well, being that I'm the age that I am and could have been hip to it when it was time to get hip to it, I'm like, why was I not hip to it? I mean, it's like I knew about it, but why didn't I execute on it? So there's always a little salty of like, oh man, I had that boat for 10 years and didn't jump on it. But I think it was really just getting the understanding of it. But it was even around like 2018 and stuff that I saw at Nordstrom's, there was like the credit card swipe option, and it was like you can even pay in Bitcoin. And that almost kind of flipped the switch on, and check the charts and such. But I want to say it was around $7,000 to $8,000 even at the time. So hefty investment for, jumping in the market and getting them first. But there's a lot of tokenization talk that's going on, but I just don't, besides kind of Bitcoin, is that one that just kind of seems to be more on the larger investment macro scene. I'm not really as into the altcoins, and I feel like anytime I'm always in on the high, and then I'm DCAing down, and then I'm moving over to equity stocks. So maybe if I was a winner and knew what I was doing in them, I'd love them. But it will be interesting to see, because again, Trump was running on a very pro crypto platform as well. And so there hasn't been, like, I believe the treasury and such like that's been done, that was talked about. So it'll be interesting to see, over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, if that kind of crypto run does kind of come back with kind of that administration support. But yeah, generally clueless on most of it, and just keeping a side eye to kind of see what it does. Yeah,
I'm clueless on crypto, and you know what? Anyone that makes money in it, congratulations, well done. If you understand it, I have respect for you. If you don't understand it and you're making money, well done. But at the same time, I ain't putting my money nowhere I don't understand. I think Peter Lynch said that, like, if it's not simple enough for you to understand, just don't park your money there, because I wouldn't be confident when we start pulling back on crypto. Some of you are able to withstand the emotional turmoil of crypto, but no, I genuinely wouldn't. Guys, if you haven't followed Chris, Vast CNC, Crispy on X, he has all the CEO interviews recorded for Lightpath, Unusual Machines, KOPN, and Velo. So
Nice.
if you haven't and you want to check it out, Chris is great. You need to make sure to follow him. Maybe to bring you up to speed for a side chat. Chris, do you know what? Let's organize a call again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting up to speed here. And then, Chris, you're always welcome to actually come on one of these. Well, not one of these, all of these. Market prep show. So do let us know. UMAC had a good run last week. May start to fade, but they're making moves into batteries.
Very
New
nice.
investors should
Very
definitely
nice.
have crypto. Older investors, not good. I hold no more than 10% in my portfolio. Tyson Freeze. If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to give an exact age, but what age bracket do you fall into?
Yeah, true. Interesting.
I'd be interested to know that. Look, 0% of my portfolio is crypto. I could be an idiot. I probably am an idiot, but 0% of my portfolio is in crypto. Guys, should I add more crypto? I'm going to be open and honest. I don't understand it. I don't have no passion towards it. I don't look at it. So, yeah, I don't think it's
it's interesting too. I don't know about your brokerage, Liam, but if you hold crypto, just kind of like how it shows instead of your equity price like going up and down, it's like kind of like now your brokerage screen is like live like all day again. Because even though some will be 24-hour trades that you're going through, but again, it's just it's kind of interesting just how your brokerage app even looks a little bit different once you add just one little coin in there of something. Yeah, well, probably, if I don't understand it, that probably means that is something to get into. Maybe it's one of those like inverse Dylan plays. It's like, oh, Dylan's not in it. He doesn't understand it. That's a winner, So, but yeah, no, it's interesting to keep an eye on and, see again what happens with the dollar and such and currency over, what is not going to be just the next 1 in 3 years, but 20, 30, 50 years down the line. And be interesting to see, like my son, for example, at when he gets to be 20, 25, what his main type of spend, in a type of form of money is. So yeah, if he starts talking about it, I'll let you know, and we maybe we'll get to know a little bit more about this thing.
Tyson Freeze is just turned 54. You're a young man yet, my guy.
Right, nice.
10% portfolio in crypto. So, what would I have to go for? 20%? Oh, I wouldn't even be brave enough to put 10% of my portfolio in crypto. I don't even know why I'm even contemplating this. I'm not gonna lie to you. No matter if the whole chat said to me go into crypto, I would not go into crypto tomorrow. So, I might do a bit more research. Maybe we can learn a little bit more about the crypto as these go on, and then I may buy some. But
that's fair.
To me, I don't know. Tyson Freeze, is it the main ones you hold? Oh no, Solana and HBAR only crypto I have. Okay. Like Jackson said, if you do, I would stick with the main players, Bitcoin, XRP, or Ethereum. If I had to.
Yeah, go for
my
it.
hands were tied and I had to, I'd go for Bitcoin and Ethereum. XRP I did hold there about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember. It was before I had the channel. And my whole thing about XRP was the amount of coins there actually are. So to actually move anyway big, it was going to take a substantial amount of money. And I know crypto does move massively, but I don't know, XRP, I can see why people are getting excited about it, but at the same time, I didn't understand it enough. Do your homework on crypto before you invest. No, I think that's great advice there, Tyson.
The ETH drop down has been interesting. It's like ever since Tom Lee was so bullish on it and BMNR came out, it's, I want to say, didn't breach 2000, but I want to say it was in the barely, it was maybe in the 2000 range. It might have climbed back up to around 2200. And that was down from, I want to say, around 34 or so. Okay. And again, with BMNR, there's a whole like NAV erosion, and I cannot explain it to anybody better than saying NAV erosion that comes into play with how they hold and stake their ETH. But yeah, just in a sense of like whether it's swing trade or learning market or not market or learning specific sectors of that crypto. I don't know. I would say ETH would be a curious one. So yeah, if anybody knows anything about it, feel free. Happy to learn. Happy to learn more.
Dylan, what are you doing this week? You buying, selling? Is there anything you want to nibble at, or are you just waiting, or is there anything you want to just quickly? Maybe you don't hold it, but is there something you would steer away from this week, whether it's sector wise, whether it's stock wise?
I'll tell you one that has been pretty green. I don't know the exact percentage, but Caterpillar, that's
Okay.
one that I've kind of put into the side, like kind of as a little side investment here, a little side investment here, a little side investment here. And I felt like that's kind of been holding well. And I don't listen to the earnings calls
Am I
and
spelling
such.
that wrong?
I think CAT maybe might be the ticker on it.
There you go.
Okay, cool. But yeah, kind of that. I want to, Broadcom. I'm a little bit interested in learning a little bit more about Broadcom, but I think also Google for me, it hasn't retraced as much, as a lot of these other, be it either Mag 7s or, it just doesn't seem like it's really hit under that 300, which may bring it back into like a 250 fib level or something like that. So. But in the sense of like just kind of like what would I be okay with buying today and kind of being like whatever happens in the next 5 or 10 years. I think out of those big mega cap companies, I just kind of personally lean on the side of Google and just kind of have many different kind of arms they have, and again the automobiles, YouTube, the revenue, ads, search, TPUs, and kind of all that they're doing. But yeah, I think I'll be a little greedy. I'll probably add some Archer just because it'll be nothing but 2, 3, 4, 5 shares, just spending some lunch, spending on Archer. But I do want to stick to my plan of saying that I want to say, look, maybe if I say it in the air, it will come true. 90% of my invested capital that I would be spending, I'll be saving for mid-May and seeing how the market is then and seeing if I can execute at that time. Yeah. What you think?
I'll be honest. I've only one thing on my mind at the moment. Is Horizon Aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Hit my buy range, 180. Yes, I've been throwing $100 here, $100 there into it. Guys, I've actually started to put up anytime I buy Horizon Aircraft, I'm putting it up on X. So this week, I think I threw $200 into it.
Nice.
I'm going to be honest, guys. I've just under 3,000 sat in cash. I was going to use it for an absolute black swan event. I'm considering once, well, look, it may not happen, but if we drop below that 180, I'm thinking of just throwing $1,000 into Horizon Aircraft and seeing what happens then. My whole goal is get to 1,000 shares, not 1,000, 10,000 shares of Horizon Aircraft. Get to 10,000 shares. We can more or less forget about it. Whatever happens. It's going to be my lottery ticket. But I think at the moment, that's all I'm doing. I think my portfolio is stable enough. I'm not comfortable to be overexpose myself in any speculative play. I think Rocket Lab's a nice buy at the moment. I think we're set for another leg up, especially SpaceX IPO over the next 3 months. I think the whole space sector is set to run massively. So should I get back into Redwire? Not necessarily. I'm not overly bullish on it. Rocket Lab potentially add a little bit more. Yeah, Horizon Aircraft, maybe. Maybe add a nice amount of Horizon Aircraft, but
I don't hate that. And maybe
AMPX we pull back.
I was gonna say there you go, side eye and AMPX, just in the sense of what I felt like I was seeing day to day with it. When it kind of breached 11 and then it got to the 14s. It retraced back to the 11s. I kind of I was holding Ondas and AMPX generally at the same times, and Ondas had done an overcorrection versus AMPX at different times. But I was kind of having this feeling with AMPX when it retraced the 11s that it might come back even down to the 8s. But it held the 11s really well. and then kind of went up to the 14s, and it's been one minus the last day or two where it sold off a little bit. It's really withstood the overall market macro crisis, and they did have their earnings that it just came out, and I want to say it was about 15% ish pump the first day, and second day total combined about 40% pump. But yeah, and that's one where I don't want to be a dumb investor and say I'm just going to buy shares tomorrow because it's AMPX. I'm just going to buy shares. But that I think for 2026 is one where I'm just going to think about it in the long range of what battery tech is and can and will be, and have a thesis around that, and hope that it retraces so I can buy a better price. But yeah, I think that's going to be one of my top buys for this year.
Chris says Google is favorite pick in the mega caps as well, but probably not entering again. Google, I think, is slept on massively. I know that sounds silly to say, but I genuinely think Google, they have all your data. They have all our data. So I think Gemini is going to be massive. Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on Google. Got a buddy that bought Hover at 45 cents, kind of jealous of that lol. I feel the pain. We interviewed Brandon Robinson, CEO. It was around 55, 60 cents. And yeah, we ran all the way up to, what was it? $3.80, $3.90.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel the pain. And I wouldn't mind. At the time, Brandon actually said to us that they had plans in place, and he was pretty confident that they would get over the dollar at that time. So it would have been an easy 2x straight away.
Yeah.
But no, do you know what? I didn't hold on to it long enough. So yeah, it is what it is.
But
we all learn.
and that's what it is, and I think for each year, whether if anybody else has either had this goal of whether it's certain shares they want to accumulate by year end and having goals in that range, certain investment money that they want to get in, and again for me, the lesson that I'm taking from this year as an investor is I came into this year with a certain investment plan about if there was going to be a swing trade opportunity, that was the swing trade I was going to take. It did set up as basically my plan had evolved into. And after executing that, I looked back and realized for my portfolio, I probably could have I could have liquidity myself. I could have basically cashed out the same amount of funds, but done it in a better way for my portfolio. So, for me, again, hopefully it's just one lesson a year to learn, not getting too beat over and having learned too many lessons. But just for anybody out there, whether they want to share, a market lesson they've learned or something that, going into this year is maybe a market strategy for them as well. So my market lesson is that have a plan, stick to it, but maybe zoom out right before it's executed and see if that's still the best plan to do.
I want to quickly have a look at what Dave Jackson says. AXTI, mate, how long have you been in this stock? Because it ran 50% over 5 days, 101 over the month. If you look back over the last years, up what, 30x?
Wow. Congrats. Congrats.
Like says, I just want to say I appreciate you guys taking the time to do these streams. We learn a lot from each other and it helps for the future. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know what? This is why we do it. We learn from each other, genuinely.
Yeah.
We're not no specialists when it comes to any of these stocks. You can just about call us specialists in the VTOL market just because we cover it so much. We're starting to learn quite a bit about it. But look, we all know as much as each other. You all know as much as your buddy beside you.
Thank you.
We have Kinney's here says, hello, cheers, good Sunday evening to you. Big thank you. Yeah, this is our new project, the Market Prep Show, where we talk absolutely all stocks. Guys, do smash that like button. Also, smash that subscribe button. We're nearly at 4,700. I think we're 2 away, so do smash that subscribe button if you're here. Also, let us know what you thought about this whole new project.
This was fun.
I thought was massively different. You don't see it going around. It'll build out. I think we'll get more and more people. We have 54 between X and YouTube at the moment live with us.
Thank you.
Seeing
That's
around
cool.
them numbers the whole way through. So I want to thank you guys for supporting any project we ever go on.
Yeah.
But do you know what? It's nice fun to have on a Sunday evening. I'm gonna be honest, guys.
Yeah.
It is 2:35 a.m. here in the morning.
Ah,
So what I'm gonna say is
yeah.
thank you so much. I'll be jumping in buying Hover hopefully tomorrow. Dylan, we're both looking at AMPX.
Mhm.
You're sniffing around Google,
Mhm.
Archer. Will we
Mm.
go below that $5 range? I don't know. But my name's Liam, one of the Hustle Brothers. We have our other Hustle brother Dylan here. Do follow Dylan as Dylan11 on X. And guys, we will see you for Archer Aviation Podcast on
There you
Tuesday.
go.
All right,
Called it.
guys. We'll see you then.